Good morning, and today's Queen Jack Spades. 10 NL game, 7-handed, villain 4 limps. And I've set up 3 different ranges. So for this limping range, I looked at what his early position stat looks like, 43% EP. His pre-flop raise is 12%. So I started here and said, okay, that's about 40. That's 43.6%. It's pretty wide range, and I do think this guy's a pretty wide range, and he's going to raise at least 12%. At least 12% of them. So I think the raising range is probably the top 12%. I'm not even going to include some of the low suited aces. I'm just going to go pocket pairs down to fives. I mean, he is under the gun, so I think he's probably going to limp some of those, and maybe he has some of these other pocket pairs as well. But this is 12% I took out, and then it gets to me, and I have my pre-flop raising range versus the limper. I'm in the cutoff. I'm going to be raising all of these hands. Raise to 5, folds to him, and he calls. So we went from here. What does he call with? His fold to 3-bet stat is 17%. When limped in, we got 31%, and then we're looking at limp and call to raise is 71%. So he gets rid of about 20% of hands. So what I did was kind of cut this down to 21%. It's about 33%. That he would have folded, and what I kind of did was kind of get rid of the worst of them, some of the suited kings, some of these really low cards. I kept the pocket pairs because I do think players call pocket pairs hoping to hit trips, so I left those in, and we're left with this range. Flop comes out 9-3-2, villain checks. Yeah, it could have hit him. We definitely have overpairs. I don't think he does. I think he could have some of the nines that connect. But I see bet anyways because I do have overs and I do have that backdoor spade draw. That half pot he calls. 4 spades comes, villain 4 checks. I do think this is probably a hand where I could have bet. I mean, the spade improved my range. Definitely is a barreling card. And I'm curious to see if GTO says that I should bet here. But my concern was that on this kind of uncoordinated board, I bet he calls. He could have a 9, and he's going to probably call again on the 9. And what I didn't want to do is bet, get raised, get check raised, and then have to fold when possibly I have some equity. So I didn't. So I checked behind. 4 hearts hits. He leads out for a full size pot bet. I don't even think I have a bluff catcher, so I folded. So what does GTO say? So villain should check 100%. I think that's good. And then it looks like I am betting 100% in my range, which is good. And I think that's reasonable. I mean, he has such a very wide range, kind of a weak range. The only, the 2-3 that he connects is only pocket 2s, pocket 3s, and now there's only 3 combos of each, so 6 combos total out of his entire range. What about the 9s? When we look at the 9s, yeah, he has some of these 9s, but that's about it. I think we're betting because we have overcard potential, we've got backdoor potential. I mean, if he folds, hey, that's great. So I bet. Now, if player plays GTO, he is going to be raising some of these like ace 4, ace 5, which, that's kind of interesting to see. That's the gut shot for the wheel. Because again, how likely is it that I connect? I think less than him. But I still have ace 2, ace 3, ace 4. I've got 2s, 3s, 4s. I've got 9 or 2s and 3s. I have 9s. I have overcards. I have pocket pairs, lower than that 9. I could have caught a piece of this flop, more so than villain. I think check raising ace 9 is also about 50% check raise, 50% check raise on both of those. He's calling with his nines. Not surprised. He's calling with ace 3 and ace 2. Again, not surprised. Gut shot 5-6. So mostly calling, sometimes raising with those. So he calls, and then we get the 4 spades out. And now villain should be checking, or should be betting. I think this is purely a bet because the board doesn't appear to help him. It's not, or help me. It's not an overcard. It's not Broadway. That would have been an ideal barreling card. So I think he does have some of his checks for the nines, but a lot of these other hands he's betting just purely to bluff here. That includes the hearts, the diamonds that he has. That's a good thing to know, kind of that different strategy. I'm not sure if I would have considered that. I think that's an interesting idea here. But let's see here. So when he calls, he does have some of these, I guess 10-8, Jack-8. He's got a small number of like ace-10, king-jack, queen-jack. Doesn't really have 5-6. So he does have some of these. And he's calling with the ace overs. Ace 5, ace 6, ace 7, ace 8. All right, so he checks. Let's say he plays GTO. He checks. It's on me. What do? I bet 32% of the time. The flush draw, we are checking 56%, betting 44%. So we're not going to be betting all of our spades. Sometimes we're checking, and our queen jack, you can see we're checking 65%, betting 35%. So I think that kind of agrees with what I was thinking. We do have some equity in the hand with that backdoor draw. The last thing we want to do is bet and then have villain check raise us, which he could with 6. I mean, GTO saying 6 check raise with 6-5. Have a few check raises with ace 4 or 9-7. I mean, the small times that he raises, I think we're not going to really like it. I mean, it doesn't mean we're not going to call. I mean, we're still going to it looks like we're still calling with queen jack. Looks like we are calling with all of our flush draws except jack 10. Maybe because we blocked 10-9. I think GTOs, we're making a big pot on a draw. So I think we're going to be okay with the check. 4 of hearts comes out. So we went check. Now villain bets, and we have him betting the pot, and it looks like we did the right thing by folding. We didn't connect anything. We would raise a full house, 3 of a kind, overpair. Call somewhat of the overpair. Yeah, and I would have probably played it like that. So looks like I played it okay. Could have possibly raised it on the turn, but I think calling is just, it works just as well. All right, so I think overall, I wish I knew what he had, what he did with this. I mean, this is just what I'd say, a classic Doug Hall play. You call the person in position who had the initiative. He checked the turn, and then you just lead out big pot. You don't even have to have anything. You can bluff, but problem is I don't really have a bluff catching hand, so maybe that in and of itself makes me lean more towards betting that turn, because I don't have a bluff catcher. Maybe if I had something like ace jack of spades, ace queen of spades, I could check behind on the turn and then yeah, ace jack, ace queen, I could check behind on the turn, and then if he leads into me, I could always call with those hands. So I check here, he leads, and now, I mean, GTO still says I should fold, but I have an ace high. I could possibly call him thinking that he's making this play. He's going to have more bluffs in his range than value in his range. So what if it was different? What if this was, let's say, King of Hearts? I take that back. No. What if this was, let's say, we'll start with like the King of Spades. If that was a King of Spades checked, we are still just gonna fire. I think we picked up that spade. It's a not only did we pick up equity, but I think that also improves our fold equity, and that's why we're gonna be betting here. I think it's notable this ace king, ace queen, ace jack, ace 10 with the spades. See, I think I would have probably fired again, at least with the spades, because that is a good barreling card for me. Looks like we're doing like the lower aces, so definitely with those bluffs, maybe we still have a little bit of value here. I think if we have, we do block like king queens, but when you look at this player's range, he doesn't really have a whole lot of those in his hand. So if he doesn't really have a whole lot of kings in his hand, perhaps what we are doing then is kind of guarding against some of those check raises that if we bet and he raises, we would probably just have to fold some of these hands. That's if he plays GTO. But I think I would have continued betting the ace queen, ace jack, ace 10 instead of checking that. I think pocket pairs, I mean, just overall, I think being aggressive is good. What about his c-bet set? Fold to c-bet's pretty low. I think once he comes along, it seems like he tends to stick with it. We just don't have a big sample size on that turn. So king of spades we would still bet. Let's do king of diamonds. Same sort of thing. Looks like we are still firing. We're going to be betting less when we have our spade draw. Definitely now things shifted to our diamond draw. Let's do that to a club, so it's a rainbow. Now we pick up some of our ace kings. That wasn't on there. Oops, let's do king of hearts. Check. Yeah, we still had some bets with ace king, but ace queen, ace jack. It's the clubs. We're definitely betting more because we missed out on our club draws. Whereas everything else, we could have the king and still have our flush draw. But again, I'm just a little amazed at this ace 10, ace jack, ace queen decision of just checking behind here instead of betting. But I mean, we don't have anything, so I guess it kind of makes sense. What if this comes up to be a jack where we hit a pair? Now we're still betting all of our top pair hands. Okay, I would have continued doing that. King queen still bets. Aces checks, mostly checks. Ace king, ace queen. So I think something similar is that we can't bet all of these because then we're going to become unbalanced. So I'm sure that's kind of what we're thinking about, is that we're still going to bet hands that helped, that were helped. We're still going to bet some hands that are bluffs. Ace 4, ace 5 still have some equity, backdoor draws. Ace 7, ace 8, just I'm sure pure bluffs here. We've got our pairs, and then king queen's going to be still bluff. So we've got those, but we also have quite a bit of value. And if we decide to continue betting all the time, then we're going to be on balance. So you can see 57, 42%. That's our 57 call, 42% bet. I'm gonna guess Jack of Spades is gonna be. We have the Jack of Spades. Yeah, same type of thing. Let's do 10 of Spades, where we now have open ender and the flush draw. My guess is that with this, we are still going to be firing. We're not gonna try to check this down and worry about getting a raise. We have a big draw now. That 10 was an overcard to the 9. Yeah, it's possible Villain has 2 pair, but I'm not sure if we can worry about it. So he checks. We do. We are firing. We're firing our spades, our flush draws, open enders. We are betting. We're still at our frequency 5742. That seems to be the frequency that has the same frequency that we had previously. So so about 40% bets. We're being aggressive. And that was the same that we had, right? So check. Nah, it's a little bit higher. More checks here because again, I think this board just doesn't really help us. So I wish we saw what he had, but I think I played this okay. I think you learn a bit. I think I've learned a bit, especially that ace queen, ace jack, ace 10. I think I would have bet with an overcard, but it looks like we're supposed to check. I think as plays, we have to slow down. The board doesn't really help us, but I think most importantly is that this seems to be a great turn card for out of position player to lead. And his lead that I have is 17.25, so 75% maybe is what I set as the default. Yep. So if he does that 75%, he's betting a pretty wide range here on that turn, and I wouldn't have considered doing that. And I think maybe that's something that I'm missing in my game is that sort of play where I recognize that, okay, yeah, this board doesn't really hit him very hard, and now that turn definitely doesn't improve his range, but it could have improved mine, especially if I have a 9, or maybe ace 4, ace 5, something like that. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, look tomorrow for another.